Well, good evening. It is another Manic and Chill. It is June 11th, 2025, and this is Roster Reality Part 2. Last week we did Roster Reality Shane Edition, and this week it is Roster Reality Scott Edition, where we go through some of my teams, specifically ones that are maybe toiling in the middle. And Shane will break them down and tell me why they suck and why I need to make specific moves, either buying, selling, but I need to do something with some of these teams. So I'm excited for it. Shane is going to drive the boat for most of this show. So you're going to get the Shane Manila hosting most of Manic and Chill tonight. He has been getting those reps under his belt hosting that Saturday night mailbag show. But Shane, how are you doing tonight? How excited are you to drive the ship tonight?
Stoked. I love hosting. It's one of my favorite things. Right up there with talking to other human beings. So I'm stoked. I'm ready to dive into some of your rosters. Because it's going to be fun. Your captain, roster construction, captain, no wide receivers left behind. No running backs left behind. No quarterbacks left behind. No wide receivers that are frivolous should be on our roster. So I'm getting excited to see. Hopefully you didn't clean up any rosters before we started. You stayed true to the spirit of this, like I did last week. I didn't clean anything up before we went live. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I did not. And that's going to be huge, is that most of my teams already have a specific construction, but guess what? Some of these definitely have some stuff that needs to be done before we get to the season. Before we do that, ddfantasyfootball.com, the Trinity tool has been updated. It is awesome. You're able to compare players now based on their usage. So it's pretty cool. You can go in. It's just expanded. If you have already access to it, ddfantasyfootball.com, you can use the code in the description. Get 50% off the first month. Try it. You also get in the Discord. But check it out. It's new. The War Tool is going to be updated here shortly. So both of those are worth checking out over the summer. Dynasty Deal Show every Friday night, 9 o'clock. If you want your trades answered, it is on Dynasty Deal Show. Become a member. You get a Dynasty Trade Show every week, along with Destination Chill every other week with Ray and I. And then roster reviews. We'll put up the coupon code here in a second, the QR code for roster reviews. If you want your roster reviewed over the summer, check it out. Well, a lot of what Shane does on this show tonight is going to be what we talk about on roster reviews. So Shane, you ready to get into it?
I'm ready, bro. I'm ready to just share the screen right now. Get Dynasty Daddies ready to rock.
Get it rolling.
Got Dynasty Daddy up. There's Charles Chill, SFFB. I'm not really sure why it didn't go back to the league that I was already in, but that's okay. We're going to go Clash of the Tight Ends. This is the first league. Scott, before we get in there, is this a tight end premium league?
It is. It is actually a start 12 2 tight end league, and the tight end receptions are an extra point. So it is a start 2 PPR for tight end league, start 12.
Okay, so this is yes, tight ends really, really matter. All right, so when we go in the Dynasty Daddy, right, you can look at the contender view here, see where you kind of slot in. They've got Scott as being frisky. Overall rank is 2. But what I like to do is then go over to this little playoff calculator, John. Hit that and see where Scott is. So even though it shows him as being second on that power rankings, he's actually 4th in playoffs. So he's got an 80% chance of making the playoffs, which is very good. That's good. That's well over 50%. 12% to get a first round bye, which is huge, because if you get a first round bye, your chances of getting the money would absolutely increase. So those buys are important. And then he has an 8% chance of winning it all, which is actually tied for 3rd. And what's weird is make playoffs. He's actually moved up to still 4th. That's weird. Anyway, very weird there. So anyway, he's got an 8% chance to win it all. So Scott, what can you tell me about this roster? I'm going to go back to it, open it up. Besides the fact that it's heavy tight end premium, anything else we should know about this?
No, I mean, the market is very robust for tight ends. If you look at the roster, this was basically a full punt that I built up last year. I did well in the rookie draft last year. As you can see, my 5 rookies last year were or 6 rookies last year were Caleb, Penix, Bucky, Marv, Neighbors, Bowers, which is essentially my roster. So like that's the crux of my team. You know what I mean? So
that's a good
I'm
call.
good with Bowers. I drafted Mason Taylor and Harold Fannin this year. I have Juwan Johnson and Noah Fant. My tight end too. I'm basically streaming. But I could probably trade. I just traded Theo Johnson for a second and a third.
Sure.
That's the kind of market in a 2 tight end league. Like if I wanted to trade Mason Taylor, I could and probably get another starter at another position. So I'm purposely going slim at receiver. Restrepo and Jermaine Burton are probably guys I'll cut.
Yeah, no, I didn't even want you to point that out. I wanted you let me point that out. Why is there Xavier Restrepo and a Jermaine Burton? When, especially every time we've spoken about Jermaine Burton, you've mentioned that he probably should not be on the roster. Why is he on the roster?
Well, okay, so here's the reasoning. On leagues where I go slim at receiver, I'll keep a couple guys like that, but they have to hit such a high bar before the season starts. Like they're probably cuts. They're 95% of the time, they're probably going to be cuts in lieu of a quarterback or a running back. And as you can see, my quarterback room here, not bad.
No,
so I don't need to carry every quarterback. I can pretty much just focus on running backs and what can turn me into value, but I don't have enough to get there. What do you recommend?
So what are we trying to get here? What do you want to add to this roster? Where do you feel weak? Because your quarterbacks are fine. Wide receivers based on the scoring. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably I have my own first. I have 2 seconds and 2/3, and I have 2 seconds and 2/3 in 2027. So I have like marginal stuff to sell. It's probably receiver. I mean, I'm relying on one of Diggs or Shaheed as my 3 and 4. So it probably is there.
Yeah, let's go look at the rebuilding teams, right? What do they've got at wide receiver? Let's see if they know they're rebuilders. Because this first team, it says rebuilding, but he's got Jaden Daniels, Drake May, JT, Lad McConkey, G-Dub, JMO.
Cup of Mulvaney. That team is probably rebuilding, I would guess.
Never mind. This I see where they're tight ends. But yeah, so the next team, Cup of Mulvaney, rebuilding. They've got Nico, Terry McLaurin, Michael Pittman. Oh, it goes down quickly. Hey, it's our favorite guy. You see who that is?
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen's there too. Wan'Dale Robinson and Keenan Allen. What are you willing to pay for those two? 2 of them. Get them both. Because you're going to be cutting Restrepo and Burton anyway. So you can just do a 2-for-2 replacement.
Well, let's think through this. I'm starting Mahomes and I'm starting Caleb Williams, and I have Michael Penix. None of these options on here are stacks. Don't you think this team might go for a 2-for-1 where I get a receiver and a running back for a first?
You want a running back? Oh, yeah. Either way. So if you want to do what? Wan'Dale and really want Kyron.
Could I go Terry McLaurin and
you're going to go down to Tajay Spears? Because that's probably the running back level that you're going to need to go to, if not worse.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to what would you rather trade on my roster? Penix? Because this team does need a quarterback. I think Penix is probably a better piece to trade.
So then we just do Penix. Penix, if we trade Penix, I'm more comfortable trading Penix and asking for Kyron Williams and Wan'Dale Robinson. Or if you do want to, I mean, the original point of this is to fix the wide receiver room or add wide receivers. You could do Terry McLaurin and Aaron Jones. I would offer Terry McLaurin and Aaron Jones for Michael Penix. If anything else young you could throw in there just for fun. You know what you could throw in? You know who Xavier Restrepo.
Yeah, I can throw those guys in. I think the cool thing about this league is backup quarterbacks will be readily available. It's a little shallower. I didn't check the number of roster spots, but it is start 12 and it is only 27-man rosters. So during the season, one of the ways I was able to get so many seconds and thirds is when I joined the league. This is a big buy-in. This is a $500 buy-in. I joined the league as an orphan. Okay. I was tanking. This was end of 2023. I was able to add all the backup quarterbacks because it's so shallow. I literally joined in the entire season. I was adding Cooper Rush, Mason Rudolph, you know what I mean? Gardner Minshew at the time. Like I was able to turn some of the scrubby QBs into free picks. And then move my way around the draft board and pick up a couple extra pieces. Like that's how I got Theo Johnson. Got Theo Johnson in the third and ended up flipping him a year later for a second and a third. So like this is a league where if I traded Penix, I could backfill with a bunch of backup quarterbacks in case I needed a 3. So I'm okay moving Penix in that regard. Could I do Penix and Mason Taylor for George Kittle and Kyron Williams?
We are shooting high, but what do we always say, man? We are not counting someone else's pockets. And we go back to this roster, cup of McGullicuddy. He has no quarterbacks whatsoever. Matthew Stafford, sure. He still has Derek Carr for some reason on his roster. Jordan Travis, who is retired as well. This is a high buy-in to have that much muck on your roster right there. But anyway, George Kittle and Kyron Williams, give him Michael Penix. What else are we giving him?
Mason Taylor.
Mason
telling
Taylor.
him that he's getting the young tight end version, which I'm fine with Mason Taylor here, but in a contending window, like
you're trying to win now, you don't need to wait for Mason Taylor.
Right.
Right.
And I don't mind going down the ship with Kittle because I have Bowers. You know what I mean? And I'm going to send that out now. I think I love that offer.
Yeah. So we're going to get Kittle. We'll have Kittle and Bowers on this roster. One thing I would say is start with Fannin over Mason Taylor, just because you don't always want to always send like your best offer out there because you never know. Maybe they take it. If they don't, fine, bump it up to Mason Taylor. It's not insulting when you add Harold Fannin. There's definitely some folks in our world that are fans of Harold Fannin Jr.
Sending it now.
You send that offer. What else can we do? So who else? Let's go to our wide receiver ranks, right? See if anyone wants to deal from a position of strength. It's the only problem. Let's go back. So trade value. Let's go to contender view up here, up top. I prefer that. There you go. Wide receiver contending rankings. I prefer this better because it takes out the future value. So it's Jin Pale, Jamar, Jefferson, Waddle, Judy, Golden. Okay, so he's clearly built his team around the wide receiver. The Crippler is an absolute frisky person. He's got himself, he loves himself some young wide receivers. His tight ends are okay. This guy needs a tight end. Dalton Kincaid, Cole Kmet, Taysom Hill, and Dawson Knox just reeks of desperation and sadness. George Pickens. It's our buddy George Pickens. I'm offering him, if the other trade falls through, I'm offering him Mason Taylor and something for George Pickens.
How about Rome Odunze? Ray's been talking him up based on that new Trinity. He was just on the Yahoo show with Matt Harmon. He was talking old Rome Odunze was his pick to be this year's JSN. Who has old Rome Odunze?
That would be our friend McGuff25. His tight end. Yeah. Rome. Oh, that's Romeo Dobbs. I'm sorry. I typed in Rome.
I'm looking at the team.
Sorry. E-Tron. Sorry. Yeah, you have to spell it correctly. This team's a fraud. They have, let me go back. Let me just change this right back to trade value because for some reason it takes off the picks when you're in contender view. And I think that is a very bad idea because picks very much have something to do with if you being a contender or not. Where did he go? Where did Rome go? Now I got to go back.
No, he's on E-Tron's team. And now I'm looking at this team. He has Rashee Rice and Rome Odunze. What could I do to get those guys?
And then look how thin it is after that. Chris Olave, Brandon Ayuk, Hollywood Brown. He's got Bo Nix, Cam Ward, Brees Hall, RJ Harvey, Rashee Rice, Rome Odunze. No tight ends to speak. I mean, he's got a lot of tight ends. Mike Gesicki being the only one that's probably going to produce for him this year. He's very shallow, though. Like every way across. He's got too deep, and then it drops off precipitously.
Would you do Marv, Mason Taylor in a second for Rome and Rashee Rice?
Yes, absolutely.
I think that people may think that does not have a chance to get done in a 2 tight end league, though. Mason Taylor's value is higher than you would expect.
I mean, where was Mason Taylor drafted?
I took Mason Taylor at the 201.
Okay, so I'm
actually immediately after him went Ferguson, Arroyo, and Fannin, all in the top half of the second round.
So everybody played chicken, then realized that tight ends are jumping off the board. It's time to go. Mason Taylor's off the board. I wouldn't have been shocked that Mason Taylor didn't go in the first in that. Someone pointed it out in the crowd. Yes, Riley. Tight ends are a pretty good flex play in this format too. Absolutely. Absolutely. So
The problem is, since you have to start 2, they hardly ever get to people's flexes because everyone needs to.
But you again, let me minimize my screen and go back. You are in a position. Where's Charles? Chill. FFB. Oh, I hate one thing I don't like is I got to do that. Then I got to reopen it. Where is Scott going back? Brock Bowers. I mean, you've already built through one tight end. So, and then you have Noah Fant who's going to score for you. So you already built your team the way you want it to anyway. So moving Mason Taylor is not really going to matter anyway to you. So that's what I'm saying. I would definitely go ahead and do that. Yeah, what would Bowers be worth in this format? Just out of curiosity. I wouldn't be moving him, but a lot, right?
I mean, you're starting with Chase, Jefferson, Neighbors, you know what I mean? And that's not enough.
Right.
Like he really should be the 101. He wasn't the 101 last year, but I think I took him at the 102.
So let me ask you this though. So just curious. I know you're very, very into your wide receivers that you want to add here, but you did mention Neighbors, right? Like, what does it take to get Trey McBride? That's not how you spell his name, by the way.
Who has McBride? What team?
There you go. That would be Heads Up, who's frisky. He's starting Loveland, Andrews, Ferguson, Dallas Goedert, Greg Dulcich, Stone Smart.
And he is very...
Wow. Look at all those wide receivers.
This is a very smart manager.
So there's not going to be any pulling the wool over his eyes. Like, here's Neighbors for Trey McBride.
He would want Neighbors, and I would guess he would probably be interested in a McBride deal if I would move Bowers. That's the type of... Okay,
so...
I mean, he would add to McBride to get Bowers, but it nullifies the point of doing the trade. You know what I mean?
Yep, nope, not going to happen. All right. A couple deals you can make in there, obviously. Let's go check out another one of your teams. That team's in good condition. Just want to go over to Scott's team list. Let me just get rid of this team since we've done it. Let's go over. Oh, here's a fun league. I think I might have heard of this. Alphabetical order. Thank you very much. Oh, it says mid-season degenerates. How'd I get that name? Got power rankings. Oh, there's Chill. Overall rank is 1. I feel like you're failing the assignment. But again, let's go over to playoff calculator, right?
It's because I have a lot of players, but not a lot of answers when you actually set the lineup.
No, so playoff calculator. Based off make a percentage to make the playoffs. Scott is 4th. So solidly 4th. Right behind you is our good buddy Janner. Our dude TBD is significantly behind you. So there's a very good chance you're making the playoffs. Little less chance that you're going to win it. 7%.
Well, and it's like these two leagues, this one and the one we just went over, both of them, I have teams in good shape, probably the best shape of the ones I submitted. Both of them have 3 teams that are clearly above me.
Yeah.
So
and that's the context, right? So you look at this, John Robbins and gloves off and no more name changes. They're all 97% or above to make the playoffs. Each of them's just about above, close to these two are 59 and 65% first round buys, and then the win percentage 30, 27, 21. So yeah, you're 4th, but it's a 4th where it's like, yeah, I'm probably not going to win the title. I'm going to need things to go right for me for that to happen. So we'll take a look at a team, and is there something that we see here? So let's go through your quarterbacks. You got Jordan Love, Dak Prescott. Running back room. Oh, well, let me go to the important things, the settings. Another 12 by 12. Another 12 by 12. Are there any principles you have for 12 by 12s? Any deep league principles you try to adhere by?
I mean, you'll notice with like this team, I've already pretty much maximized my roster construction. I am as thin as you can probably get at receiver, other than a couple guys I can probably cut. But like I'm probably at 4 or 5 receivers, and then I'm pretty much carrying running backs or quarterbacks. And then this is another 2 PPR. So it's one of those where like tight ends have value, running backs have value because it's point per carry. So
receptions are only 0.75, right? Rushing attempts 0.25. That's a giant. That is a big PPC. Yep. And that's why in the draft you went Ashton Genty, Trevion Henderson, Caleb Johnson. You also have Alvin Kamara, James Conner, Travis Etienne, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason. You could start a roster of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 running backs if you truly wanted to.
This is the one where, do you remember, Shane? I got a little over my skis where I had too many picks, and I traded it was 110, 112, and a second and 2/3 for. I'm pretty sure I traded for Kamara, Connor, Aaron Jones, and Derrick Henry in the same trade. It was Janner and I, and he was like, I'm basically gutting my roster, so I need you to give me everything I want, which was 6 picks, and I have to take all of the running backs. And then, of course, I draft, 3 more rookies. So now what do I do?
So that's the one thing, right? And I know we love any running back on a 53, but seriously, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 running backs, 9 running backs, including Tajay Spears. It should be starting somewhere. They can't start. You can't start 9 running backs, 2 quarterbacks, and a tight end, right? Because it's not one of those awful leagues where it was you start one at any position. The one you could start any amount at the.
You can start 7 running backs max. So okay. I already have excess on, guys like Aaron Jones, Travis Etienne may not even make the lineup. So yes.
Yes. So what are we doing about that? Have you even investigated? And I don't think you have. Have you looked into trying to consolidate some of that running back depth and reconfiguring the assets into something else?
I did acquire Jaden Reed, which was purposeful because look at my receivers. It was Chris Godwin and Travis Hunter. That's all I had. So I'm I need another receiver. I did target Jaden Reed on purpose. So I traded for Jaden Reed. I have Jordan Love. I'm just starting Jaden Reed every week, but I do not trust Chris Godwin nor Travis Hunter the full season. You know what I mean? So I would love to add another receiver to that room. How can I get George Pickens? I haven't looked at that, but I would kind of like that because I have Dak now. And
George Pickens is on a fraud, Cowboy Fellatio.
Same team I got Jaden Reed from.
Yes. It's got Rashee Rice, George Pickens. Is this it? Anyway. So he has George Pickens, no running backs to speak of. I did not even know he is in the league with us. I'm not going to lie to you. Do we have any idea if he thinks he's competing or not?
I don't think so, because the same conversation was with George Pickens, was basically was with Jaden Reed. He's not competing. At the same time, here's the problem with these leagues, Shane. I value receiver less than everybody else because of the format. And so my price on George Pickens, I wouldn't want to give up a first for George Pickens, but I'm also not getting him for less than that. So help me put together a deal where I can get him. And maybe I do have to trade a running back. Maybe I do have to pull from a 2-for-1 and go the other way. Cause I need to tier up here. I have too many assets.
So, obviously we're looking at the running backs we'd like to move. Is everyone in this range, right? This Travis Etienne, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, Tajay Spears. I'm assuming he's not going to want any of those dudes if he's rebuilding.
Correct.
Right. So the running backs he's going to want is Caleb Johnson. That is fair for George Pickens, because absolutely no way he's getting Ashton Genty. I am not giving him Trevion Henderson, who was a 103 in lots of drafts. I see someone mentioning Spears in the chat, but again, if you're rebuilding, you probably don't want a Spears, a Mason, a Jones, a Travis Etienne, a James Conner, Alvin Kamara. Caleb is the perfect mix of, he's a 3rd-round pick, so he'll probably do well. But if you watch Shane Says, you know that that's not true. It's more like a 75% chance that he doesn't do well. Caleb would be the first guy I'm looking at, to be honest with you. If I'm just trying to move from my position of strength, which again is running back, an abundance of running backs. You also do have tight ends to play with. like Fannin again, or Strange, or even Likely. But I think I'm going Caleb straight up for George Pickens.
I might even be able to get my second back in that deal, but I can try some iteration of that deal and see, because I am excited to start Pickens in a league like this because I already have Dak. He's starting every week. You know what I mean? He's my wide receiver 2 or 3. So everything he gets, I'm willing to just kind of go down with the ship with Pickens. So yes, I'm going to send that offer out right now.
Riley wants us to know that Spears is 23. He is, but I'm just saying value-wise, sure, you could send out Tajay Spears.
Do you care about running back age, or is it kind of like if you've been here for 3 years, like,
no,
you know what I mean?
No. Yeah, no. And the only reason specifically like Caleb, and I mentioned the rebuild, is rookies seem to just go better in people's heads when they're like, oh, I'm rebuilding. You know what I mean? Even if Spears is only a 23-year-old or a third year back at this point. So he's young. Yeah, sure. I get that. But Caleb seems to be the one that would hold the most value. You could try Tajay Spears, but I mean, I know the people that we play with, there's about 1,000% chance that you would not get George Pickens back for Tajay Spears.
All right. So I sent the offer. I sent Caleb Johnson and Pat Freiermuth. For George Pickens and Tucker Kraft.
Okay. So what happens, and we haven't talked a lot about this, what happens if he comes back, rejects that? Tucker Kraft is a bridge too far for him.
Well, I mean, I do have Jordan Love, so I don't mind adding Tucker Kraft for Freiermuth. And I am getting rid of 2 Steelers there in that.
But what if he says no? What if he says no, I need more?
You know what? The starting offer, I'll let him counter if he wants to add a third or if he wants to swap a player or something like that. No problem. But that's what I'm starting with.
All right. Let's see. Let's just go to, just for funsies, let's go to a bottom feeder in here and see if there's anything that you would like.
Bottom feeder. Shane says, go to that team.
There you go. Couple 26 picks. What are we doing here? Anyway. Nah, that doesn't help you. Nothing there helps you.
Shane does have Tyreek Hill and DJ Moore.
I would like to get rid of them a lot. And I'm not going to.
I think we've tried, but it just hasn't fit, you know?
Yeah, there's been a lot of trades. We almost got close a couple times. It was a very blue bolt situation. But I don't want to work out a deal with me and you on here. That's no fun. No fun. Let's go to TBD. Okay.
I did get a counter.
Oh, what is the counter?
Oh, actually, no, it's a different startup trade. Yeah, never mind. We're not doing that deal.
Okay,
never mind. Rejected.
Is that our trade? Is that our startup?
No, different one. Different one.
Let's just go back to the playoff calculator because I like that. I actually like the playoff calculator better than the rankings at this point. I think it gives a better, more accurate view. I'm not making the playoffs. Superflex, Ruben is also, and this is another good thing to know, is like what owners in your league are actually what's the word I'm looking for? Practicable? Oh my goodness. Pragmatic. There you go. Thank you. Let's go to Ruben and see what team Superflex DGen. So we're trying to, I don't see how he's a fraud though. Well, that's because all he has is Josh Allen and Justin Herbert and Nico. We're not going to want to pay up for that. You're not going to want to pay up what it costs.
No, I'm trying to shift. I think what the problem with this roster is I have too many running backs. I have not enough value at receiver. A lot of my team is built in those veteran running backs that have 0 dynasty value, right? So it's either like I use them or they're worthless.
Yeah. So this range right here. Not a lot happening. I would say, even though Caleb Johnson is a 3rd-round pick and the outlook is not great, I know a couple people in the league that are Caleb Johnson fans, me included. Yeah. So if let's look at teams, right, that are actually competing, maybe they don't have strength at running back. So there's no more name changes. I don't understand how he doesn't have strength at running back when he has Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, and Ramondre Stevenson, but that's okay.
Because the dynasty value is just not there with running backs compared to receivers. You know what I mean?
So,
I mean, in And that's the problem with this is like Puka Nakua is worth X, and then like he's worth Kyron Williams and Josh Jacobs combined almost. Yet in a 0.25 point per carry, like Josh Jacobs is outscoring almost every receiver.
Here
you
you
know
go.
what I mean?
Here you go. Here's our Huckleberry. Adam, another one. He's
Okay.
got Drake London, Jordan Addison, Jalen Waddle. These are 3 wide receivers, probably in a range you wouldn't mind paying for, right? And then his running back 2 is Tyrone Tracy. Now he did go any running back with a beating pulse.
Yeah,
Heartbeat is on my roster.
He's designed a certain way there. So
yeah. Oh, he's also got Ricky Purcell. So, but he's another guy you could turn to if it doesn't work out with George Pickens. Because again, you have the running back excess. He has, you know what I mean. He has the wide receiver excess. Is Janner competing? Pretty thin at running back.
no,
Again,
he's not. He's the one that
no.
already traded me all those veterans.
Okay. Gloves off, always competing. Nothing to be done there. Hans Grubert. I do like Quinchon. He's got Chase Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs. He's got Khalil Shakir. Really just Khalil Shakir, Jamison Williams in that range of a wide receiver that you're looking for. And Wan'Dale Robinson, who is basically at this point, Wan'Dale Robinson is just my stopgap in every league. If I need a random wide receiver to fit in the bottom, can I get him in the for a 3rd round pick?
Yeah, I think just kind of sum this league up. This is when I have to probably find the team that is willing to basically give me a receiver for a running back. Knowing that I have excess, I have a little bit of a numbers crunch.
Yeah, that's pretty easy.
I need the right receiver. And I have some bias because I know the format. I know in a 0.25 point per carry, like Aaron Jones is going to outscore your favorite wide receiver 3. But yet dynasty value wise, you're probably like, man, I really don't want to trade like a Jaden Reed type for an Aaron Jones. So anyway, which one we going to next?
This one, because I'm interested in this. DC5 best ball for our best ball fans, 1, and 2, real money fab.
Yeah, go to DC5 real money fab. That's the one that.
What is this one?
They're the same. They're huge buy-ins, but the fab dollars are real dollars.
Right.
So that's all.
Okay. So get into that. Just explain that real quick.
So literally you get $100 fab, and every time you spend it, you have to pay into league safe. So people are stingy with their fab.
So it's $100 total for the year?
It's a $500 buy-in, but there's an extra 100 available for everybody's fab. So if you spend 52 fab, you have to pay 52 into the league safe, and it just goes towards like the kitty to replace an owner if we need to give a discount or something like that. It just piles up. There's no prize or anything like that.
But the limit is $100 for this.
The limit is 100. Yep. And I don't think last year anybody spent all 100. I think the most somebody spent was like 50 something. So people are stingy with fab, but you know, if there is something, somebody will spend $10, $15. So
all right, let's go to our playoff calculator. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. But it's pretty funny, or not funny, but there's a clear divide between the top 4 and then the next one. And then after that, it's a steep drop. So at a minimum, you're probably a 6 seed if everything went wrong. 11% chance for a first round bye, 6% to win the league, but it is very top heavy too, right? Daniel Jones and Dr. Dan, the donation man, are both 32 and 33% percentage win to win finals. I just want to, what were those teams named? Daniel Jones and Dr. Donation Man. So there's no super teams in here, right? Nope, just contenders, no super teams, right?
correct.
Okay, so let's take a look at your roster. I want to come back to Daniel Jones and Dr. Dan, the donation man. A lot of running backs, a lot of good running backs. Saquon, McCaffrey, Henry, Swift, Stevenson, Etienne, Tyler Algier, Jordan James. You have so many running backs that there's even a couple on here that can be cut.
This is also a league where the quarterback scoring is absolutely ridiculous. So like CJ Stroud is one of the top 10 highest scorers in the league.
Okay.
Like the average quarterback scores about 40 per game. and the other positions are not normal, but you have to have 2 quarterbacks to compete. But the rest of my roster is patchwork together. You know what I mean? Like it is on the struggle bus.
Just to give folks an idea of the scoring in this league, I'm going to share this tab instead. There's the war. I hope yep, there you go. I'm on DD Fantasy. That's all I type in, and then it automatically fills out on my browser. So I don't have to go. But here's the war. See that yellow? That's that quarterback. See how far ahead of everyone it is up top.
Yeah, look at last year's war. So the war, the one to the right. You see those top end quarterbacks? I mean, like if you just have 2 of those guys, you're keeping afloat, even though it's a start 12.
Baker, my friend.
Yep. Yeah, you're keeping afloat another starter or 2 just by having those quarterbacks. And if you don't have them, you're in big trouble.
You get down to here, Sam Darnold still rocking. Not till you get to here where it starts to coalesce with the other positions. And then tight end is the official term is ass. It's generally ass. So let's go back to Dynasty Daddy. And that would make sense because look at your tight ends. Dalton Kincaid, Dalton Schultz, Hunter Henry. That's about the type of tight end room that I would expect I would expect a tight end room like that when the tight ends don't matter.
Yeah, and I'm last year I think I started Hunter Henry half the season because it is a 2 PPR, and so like looking at the team, like he's probably penciled in the lineup, which is not good. I mean, it's very top heavy. You know what I mean? Like that's the question I have is this is not the type of team I would typically put a first in, but I look at this roster and go, I don't have anything to split. It's very hard to split a quarterback here, Shane. You almost can't split a quarterback unless you're getting one
because
of those
you're not
quarterbacks.
You
gotta say I need like a first and Herbert to trade Josh Allen. Like that'd be I would have to do a deal like that. It can't even be other positions because the quarterback value is so different here that you just you have to get another quarterback back has some degree of insulation back. So
very little chance of us splitting Josh Allen. Same with CJ Stroud. So are you that concerned about improving your tight end? Considering the war on this.
So last year, and this was we're all guilty of it. Talked about this in the stages. I had Jalen Hurts. Remember, he got injured and missed week 17. You remember that last year?
Yeah.
I traded Trey McBride and Jalen Hurts for Josh Allen and Dalton Kincaid. And I got Jacoby Myers back in the deal. Oh. Now, at the time...
Yeah, I mean, you're going for a title.
This is a $500 league. It's $4,000 to the winner. So I'm like, I'm in the finals. So that was a move where without my Jalen Hurts, I'm not winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I definitely sold my soul, but I'm looking back. If you put Trey McBride on this team instead of Dalton Kincaid and it was Jalen Hurts instead of Josh Allen, you'd feel a lot better about that position. And I could wade through my receivers being weaker. I could just say, hey, I'm going to pay a first for another receiver. This team's probably good enough in the short term. But now I have issues at multiple positions with very little to pivot off unless I'm moving Saquon, Henry, McCaffrey, etc.
Well, I mean, okay. Who's willing to buy Saquon and what can you get?
Good question. I could have to. I mean, where would you start? Would it be Saquon trying to tear down or get something different or what?
Oh, yeah. I was first person I was looking at Saquon, Henry, whatever. It doesn't matter. Because I do want a running back, right? But I obviously need a wide receiver back with him is the hope. And this probably not probably. This is not enough to get it done. False, however you pronounce that.
I actually think Ray might buy Saquon.
Let's go to Ray GQ. The man with the hat. Where's he at? Where's Ray?
He's in there. 27 years and counting.
Geez. All right. He's got to update his sleeper thing because that did not even see him. So.
And he's got the golden ticket at quarterback.
Bo Nix.
No, I mean, just look that Jackson Dart is worth as much as a wide receiver 1 in this format because he's a.
But is he able to move these? Are you able to? Is the quarterback market really like that though? Can you actually move?
When somebody has a need, the prices to get a quarterback has been extreme. Okay. That's when somebody has a need. If they don't have a need, no. But the point is,
there's no. I'm gonna guess there's no trade deadline. Right?
Ray wouldn't normally build the team like this, but you look at his team and you're like quarterback. You know what I mean? But he may be interested in moving. Like he's got a good team, but he's also in the range where he probably needs to make a move to get into that range, beat those top 2 or 3 teams. You know what I mean?
Right. So we could give him Saquon. Now, what's he giving us back? He's not giving us RJ Harvey plus, is he? Ray is the original RJ Harvey profit.
He may consider James Cook.
James Cook. Okay. So James Cook. I mean, looking at his wide receiver room, it'd have to be either Xavier Worthy or DK Metcalf. Is that enough to get it done for you?
James Cook and DK for Saquon? I mean, where my roster is at, the problem is James Cook and Metcalf don't really offer much more flexibility, right? But it does achieve getting another asset, which allows me to maybe be a little more aggressive if I wanted to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. Like that's a destination trade. Literally, I trade Saquon and I'm getting 2 guys back that are literally just destination pieces. But I mean, DK would be my wide receiver 1 or 2.
I would put him squarely as your wide receiver 2.
Exactly.
Same with Worthy.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, I'd prefer Worthy, but I know Ray is not giving you.
I traded him Worthy last year, so that I'm sure he's. I mean, he'll move anything, but
that's true.
The idea of getting Worthy on the roster that he currently has probably better to go after DK.
Bo Nix and Jordan Love, T-Law. Let's just see here. Well, again, we can't trade wide receivers.
Koopa's in this league too.
Koopa Troopa?
He is kind of tanking. He just took over one of the orphans. So I think he would be another team that would be potentially willing to move something. He just probably wouldn't be interested in Saquon, but he might be somebody I can buy from.
So what would be Jameson? What does it take to get JMO? Now, because look, if you want to make one splash move at wide receiver, but not have to pay out of your ass for it, JMO's the move, right? Just because of the spike weeks that he could give you.
Yeah.
I mean, you still have a little bit of feelings for Chris Olave. I know that.
I could go with either one of those.
Now, let me ask you this though: are we pushing in? We're pushing in, right? Because our running backs are built off of Barkley, McCaffrey, Henry, and Swift.
The push in is probably I'll give you a second and something else that he might be able to flip. So I'll give you a second and like Trevor Etienne and see what I can buy with that. Probably not JMO, but is there a way I can get to that with a deal like that? You know what I mean?
I would send that for JMO.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the type of deal that I would do. It would be, what can I get with a second plus a couple pieces? Because I do have too many running backs. Some of these running backs are only valuable when they get opportunity, but no one's going to give me anything for the old guys. It's going to be Taj Brooks, Trevor Etienne. I mean, those guys are worth thirds at best, but that's the type of running back somebody would say, yeah, sure, I'll take that on for free.
What if he asked for Ramondre Stevenson? Same thought process. He could flip him. Ramondre in a second for JMO.
No, because I think in this format with the running back scoring, like that's a 1-for-1. That's the problem. And when you have guys like Ramondre and Swift, you're basically paying a tax to escape the fact that they are just destination assets already. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you got to do that. Maybe Ramondre in a second for JMO in a third. Still gives me a pick back. I could try that. I'm going to send that.
All right. Who else is rebuilding? We got another fraud in here. The Condor. Drake May, Tua. Okay. David Montgomery, Travis Etienne, Bashil Tootin, Nico Rasheed Rice, Devonta Smith. This would be another team I'd offer a second to Ramondre for Devonta Smith.
Okay.
Devonta Smith is generally scored nearly 16 points per game last year.
How about this? What about a second for Keon Coleman?
You know how I feel about wide receivers that don't do well in their rookie season. But yeah, that's
I mean,
fair.
I do have Allen. I'm already hitching myself to that bet, you know?
Yep. And there's also your boy Zay Flowers on that roster, who we talked about last night at some point. I think we were doing a roster review. I could be wrong. I don't remember what we were talking about.
And you're not a big fan. I'm aware.
You love Zay Flowers, but he also has him. So he's got a few options for you. Devonta, Zay Flowers. Like you said, Keon Coleman. I'm staying away from Brandon Ayuk. That's where I'm going with that. So we are pushing in because, again, even though the top two are have really good odds on winning, this team's old, for lack of a better term. So it's going to be hard to. You couldn't get to the bottom if you wanted to, because it would take moving Saquon, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, and Tyreek Hill at a minimum. Like you'd need to move probably 4 of those guys.
Yeah, it's probably
without just taking anything that someone gives you.
Well,
like, sure, you could move them.
We know the risk of riding with Saquon, McCaffrey, and Henry on the same team. Right. Like if I don't win this year, my chances of doing anything past this year with those guys go down a ton. And so like I probably have to suck it up and move one of those players just for the sake of rebooting to something more flexible. You know what I mean? And I think I have to just let one of them go at whatever the market price is and give myself a prayer of some future flexibility. So that's something I'm going to put all 3 out there and just see what comes my way.
All right. I'm going to go to another fun league. Also one I'm in with you. It is a fun league with lots of sharp people.
We do a 2-hour episode on this one, Shane. We got 20 minutes left.
Yeah, we're not.
Which one do you want to hit?
We are hitting DGT, Dynasty Game Theory Invitational. Shout out to Jax Falcone of the Undroppables. Great dude, great podcast, sharp dude. So this league, let's go to the playoff calculator first, right? That's where we like to go. At one of these points, you'll figure I'll remember where it is, but you'd be wrong. Chance to make the playoffs. Scott is 5th, right? 50% chance. 50-50, but Danny Kelly right on your heels. You've got a 4%.
And this is a 14-teamer. So like any of those teams in the last and I think Jax's league it's by points, isn't it? That gets in the last spot.
Yeah.
So 5th is dangerous because if you're 6th, then you don't have the points, then you're not in. So
right. Not a ton of trading in this league. Though you did benefit from a trade last year that we'll get into in a minute.
You know what gets traded in this league? The exact sexy names that a bunch of content creators would like. Right. Probably not David Montgomery gets traded in this type of league.
So we go to the win finals. There's 2 teams at the top, separated a little bit from the rest of the crew. Then
who is that at the top?
It's a sexy mother. Anyway, then we've got our boy Memphis and JJ Zachariason right ahead of you. But again, this isn't a super top heavy team or a league, I should say. Like there's a couple teams at the top, but it's not crazy like that last league we just saw where there was 2 teams sitting in the 30s. Let's go to the power rankings. Let's take a look at your roster. First of all, is this a team you think you can win the league with?
Yes, only because I feel like it's kind of lucky. The first year I made the finals. The second year I made the semifinals. Last year I made the playoffs, but I feel comfortable in this league. I can make the playoffs. What happens from there? And I do have my pick still. So this kind of feels like if you could turn your pick into something valuable, you got a shot. It's just finding somebody to respond.
And it's important to go to the scoring on this. Obviously, it's super flex. It's 14 by 12, so it is deep as hell. If you look at who is available just on the waivers, the best tight end is Darrell Washington.
Look who the best receiver is.
Curtis Samuel. And then
who I just dropped today.
Yes. Best running back, Israel Adebatakonde, who I might actually go pick up. And then Snoop Huntley is the best quarterback.
Jane saw a running back available that's top 100. He better get him.
Yeah, I am going to go pick up Israel before this is over.
You know what else you notice on this, Shane? Look how many go to the bottom. Look how many quarterbacks are rostered.
There are, sorry, where am I looking? Positions. Oh, there's 81 quarterbacks roster.
And look at quarterback waivers.
And Kellen Mond is on there.
I've never seen it go to where the
Can I-
next three are just, there's just nothing there.
Can
There's
I
no
tell you
ranking.
something? Me and my kids love the UFL.
Mm-hmm.
This gentleman, I believe he was at the St. Louis Battlehawks. I could be wrong. He might be on another roster, but he's one of our favorite quarterbacks in the UFL. And in the UFL, they consistently, if a quarterback hits 125 yards, they're doing well. Yes, Cameron. This was the JJ Zachariason Rome trade. Yeah, there was a whole Reddit thread. There was an episode about it. It was good. So anyway, let's go to your team because that's what we're here for. But scoring, I'm sorry, I really need to get to the scoring, right? So it's 0.5 PPR, 0.5. So wide receivers are obviously very undervalued. But that's it, right? There's really nothing crazy after that.
It's just half PPR, and then the tight end premium is an extra half, so it's 1. And then there's rushing and receiving first downs.
First downs, 0.5. Yes. And that's a big first down rush. So that is very helpful. So your running back room, you have Saquon Barkley in every league, Ashton Genty, Saquon Barkley, Dave Montgomery, and then Brian Robinson, Tony Pollard. You could literally start every one of these dudes in a 12.
Pretty sure last year I was just starting. I had Joe Mixon. I think I traded Joe Mixon in a deal for Monty or some iteration of that. But yeah, I'm starting all 5 of those. Those guys are locked in my lineup because my receivers, like this is not the premium that you want to start 2 tight ends, but I'm like, do I have a better option than David Njoku or Evan Ingram? No.
But so tight ends actually, if you can get 10 points out of the bottom of your starting lineup in this league, that's a win. Because there are people every week that are starting someone that's not going to score. I think it was 2 years ago. I was starting Kyle, whatever his name is, Kyle J.
That is true. And especially when you're facing some of the bottom feeding teams, if you just have 12 active players, you will trounce them.
Right. I am, me, I'm captain shoot for the ceilings. But if you can get singles in this league, it's very advantageous to you. You also have every quarterback, Jalen Milroe, Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I just traded for Rodgers.
You did just trade.
Without him, there's a reason that I rostered all of those guys because I'm like, which one of my scrubs is going to start week 1?
So the trade was you dropped Curtis Samuel. You gave up a second and got back Miles Sanders and Aaron Rodgers. Is that right?
Yes.
That's a hell of a deal in a 12x12.
Because Miles Sanders might be one of those guys once or twice I can start.
Yes. That is a hell of a deal in a 12x12, especially when it looked like your starting quarterback was going to be Jalen Milroe.
It was Mason Rudolph for a little bit, and then it was potentially one of the other backups. But no, I was not on track to have a starter. So yes, that Aaron Rodgers deal was a lifesaver.
So, I mean, your running back ranks number 1. Obviously, there's nothing to be done there, right? We don't want to do anything at all here. Ashton Genty, Saquon.
Well, let me ask you this. In this league, what would I be able to trade any of David Montgomery, Brian Robinson, or Tony Pollard for what it would be worth to give up?
I mean, no, absolutely not.
I could try, but I'd get offered like a third and...
No, because even if someone offered you that, you could consider fair value. Like, what would you need? You'd need Trevion Henderson and
Tank Bigsby in a third for David Montgomery. Would you do a deal like that?
No.
But that's the type of offer you would get, and it's not crazy because Tank Bigsby is a starter in this league. People just don't really give up picks like that, so it is a tough league to trade, as you said.
There's Izzy, our boy. Yeah, Izzy's got Bucky Irving and then Cam Scatterbo, so you couldn't split with him if you wanted to. This is a new owner, the OG Fantasy, Theo. I can't pronounce his last name. Fantasy points or fantasy data? No, fantasy points.
If I could get a 2-for-1, would you do it?
Yes. So that's actually where I'm trying to look and see who could do a 2-for-1 with you. Now, what do you want 2 running backs, or do you want a running back and a wide receiver?
I don't care. And I got to call this out. This is actually untrue. This is actually the way I have it set up is optimal for this. I just could use better players. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for this format, this is absolutely the way you'd want to roster construct for this market and this league, because the receivers have very little value. But the problem is just there's a reason that I am at the receiver room that I am, because it is a league where people have basically overvalued receivers, right? Like,
yeah, I will
just
say,
do.
look, so here is the wide receiver rankings. Mind you, I have the top team in this league with the highest percentage chance to win, and I have the 13th ranked wide receivers. And Scott, who's
either we are the dummies in the league and don't care about receiver, and we've both been good. I think we've been in the top 4 pretty much every year. So it's just a matter of, you have people that are chasing receivers because that's what they're used to in Dynasty. But the format actually goes towards pretty much every position other than that is worth more.
I believe Hayden Winks won last year, right?
Who has the trophy by their name? I'm not sure.
Is there a trophy on here?
I'm not sure who won last year. I check.
I was pretty sure it was Hayden Winks. I could be wrong, but just my point being, wide receivers, you don't want a lot. You don't need a lot. I mean, they're great to have. Honestly, I've got Bub memes on my team. I don't care because you're starting every running back you can.
They're great to have if you wanted to make a trade, but this is also not the league where you put out, like a Drake London and somebody just comes to you with the dynasty value. It's a weird economy. It's hard to really describe it unless you're in it, and it's not that active. It's a lot of analysts that they, quite frankly, don't respond in a timely manner. So there's probably half the league will respond. The others, they don't. So it's tough.
Several gentlemen that you don't hear from. So, I mean, really, what do we want? What do we really you can start every one of these running backs. We've established
it comes down to would you on my team, knowing where it is, knowing that it's probably not top 3, but it's going to make the playoffs most likely. What type of deal? The most interesting deal to me would be sending out a first for a receiver and something else, whether that's a receiver and a second, receiver and another asset, something where I could give myself a 2-way go to maybe, like, could I get a receiver and a second? Could I get DK Metcalf and a second for a first? Start DK with Rodgers, but also have a second in case I needed to use it. Would you do something like that?
Yes. So I was actually looking at Sharp, Felix Sharp's team. He doesn't have the 2 for that you could do. Justin Boone, DK Metcalf, and Jordan Mason, Hayden, Alvin Kamara, and I don't know if we have the second.
I could send Boone. I could send Boone Metcalf, or a first for Metcalf and a second. I could try that. I could live with that deal because I just traded for Rodgers. I could live with that.
I would do that. Yeah, and this is again, if you make the playoffs, your draft pick, again, it's 14 teams. Your draft pick could be basically a second round. If you win it, obviously it's the 202 in a 12 team.
Yeah.
But again, it is super deep. So it's not like the picks are particularly devalued even in a 14 team because it is so deep. Yeah, I think you should. This is one where if I'm you, I'm probably moving that first. I'm moving that first because you're top 4. And I'll just say this, we've seen some variance in the playoffs in this league.
Yeah. And it might be one of those leagues, Shane, where because trading is so difficult to do, if I can just get a deal, it might be worth taking it because it can be inactive for stretches during the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I am terrible host. Scott was able to get through 8 teams. I babbled on and got us through 4 teams of Scott. So we'll have to do another episode because we did have a super chat in here and I didn't want to leave them hanging because that's just bad money. Right over our faces. Brady Pittman, 12 team. Thank you. 12 team, start 11 PPR. He sent Godwin, Kupp, Myers, and Monty for Barkley. Now I have Barkley, Gibbs, CMC, JT Pollard, and Najee who won the trade. Godwin, Myers, and Monty in a 12 by 11. Every one of them is a solid starter for you. So is Kupp, probably.
I mean, you don't make a 4-for-1 trade like this in a 12 by 11 if you're just, unless you're looking at your bench and going, 3 of those 4 guys I traded are on my bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's Brady. If you're still in here, and if not, just comment on the YouTube. If you watch it later, can we assume that you're deep, even in a 12 by 11? Somehow you've accumulated a lot of assets, which
Well, I mean, look at his running backs. He's starting Barkley, Gibbs, CMC, JT, Pollard, and Najee. So
not bad.
Even before Barkley, you probably had Monty chilling right there with Pollard and Najee. And then you had Cup, Myers, and Godwin. And I'm guessing those are probably like his wide receiver 5, 6, 7 type thing. I mean, I think the thing is, this might be the type of deal where on paper, there's a team that would be fine with the other side of this deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, it's probably one that's very contextual to your roster, because once you have so many pieces, like in the range of a Myers and a Cup, like there's only so much you can do with them. And you are looking to consolidate. You're either looking to sell for picks so you can gain some flexibility back, or you're looking to consolidate. So I think he won the deal, assuming that was the goal, right? Who cares if I give up a 4-for-1? Because now you have 3 free roster spots. So that's a bonus as well.
Yeah, if you can absorb it, which again, based off what we see, you probably can. So we're going to give you the win on this, with the understanding that you didn't gut your roster. Right. If you then respond back to us and go, yeah, well, now I'm starting. Oh Jesus, who was my favorite? One of my wide receivers I was starting last year in DGT, Westbrook Ikeen. Now I'm starting him. I'd feel a little differently about this trade. So that's it, Scott. We got through 4 teams. I am a terrible host at pacing. Absolutely terrible.
No, I don't think so. I actually think last week's episode and this week's episode, if you watch them back to back, like you got to mostly, like we got to watch you on the screen and see how your brain is operating when you look at somebody's team or you look at somebody's league. And then we kind of got to see it the opposite way with me last week, right? We do it a little differently, but I think there's a blend of both that probably can help people go through their teams. I mean, this is what you're having to do over the next 2.5 months, because there's not really much else to do, right? You're going through, look at a team, even if you're in 25 leagues, look at a team or 2 a week and just do like a 360 analysis on it. Do the same playoff calculator thing, run the simulator, see where like the most realistic outcomes are for it, and then start looking at, okay, where does it make sense to pull from excess to fill a hole? Where does it make sense to move a pick? Where does it make sense to... We didn't talk about it on midseason degenerates, but that's a team where, you know what? Do I really want to give Aaron Jones away for a second in a 0.25 point per carry league? No, but it's diminishing returns by having him on my roster. You know what I mean? I should probably take 80 cents on the dollar just to get a second back that I can use later for something that I'm probably not going to need that much of next year. So little things like that, kind of trimming the margins, getting as efficient as possible is really what the summers are for. And then obviously doing startups.
Yep. So there you go. Hit Dynasty Daddy. Great tool. Make sure that you have joined the DD fantasy football community. Remember, half off. You can hit the link in the description. Get half off the first month. Get to check out the updated Trinity tool. We didn't look at that tonight. It looks awesome. And then the Ward tool is going to get an update too. Scott's been working on that. So hit that link. Check us out for a month. If you don't like it, bounce. No hard feelings. Life goes on. But I got a feeling you check it out for a month, you'll enjoy it. You'll like it. And no matter what, you get half off the first month. So
100%. 100%. And if you want your trades, Dynasty Deal Show Friday night. Become a member. Get those 6 shows every month. But that's where we'll be primarily doing trades every single week. So appreciate everybody that tuned in. This was a fun episode. These 2 episodes, I think, were fun for us to kind of go through and, be a little vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like, these are our teams. So, like, we're in the streets playing Dynasty with everybody that's listened to us over the years. So we'll do some more shows like this. If you got any suggestions on other ways we can do this type of interaction, we can probably it's probably time for a live roster review here soon, Shane.
Yes.
So maybe we'll put out a promo where, somebody that buys a last roster review and chooses the live one, we can do one live on air or something like that. But it's probably time for one of those, because that's the theme, doing startups and going through your teams, getting prepared for the season. So thank you to everybody that tuned in. Next week, Shane will be away. So to be determined what we will be doing for next week's episode, but I will most likely be here, but I'll put out something so everybody knows what the plan's going to be. And have a good rest of your night. Thank you, everybody.